Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Monday, July 11th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Now, if you're looking for my MLB best bets, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Of course, I'm always running my $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Monday, July 11th. First up, we see a doubleheader between the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals. And we should see a 2:10 Eastern start time for Game 1 with Michael Pineda and Brad Keller as the starters. Game 2, we should see an 8:10 Eastern start time, Alex Faedo and Daniel Lynch as the projected pitchers. Now, these are always subject to change. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of doubleheaders when it comes to betting, as a lot of the information can change from game to game. But right now, we do have lines on both of these games, so the information may not change. Pineda, I can't really trust in this spot. The Kansas City Royals have improved their game offensively, both against righties and lefties, and to me, Pineda's a guy that's not going to strike out a ton of batters. The Royals do a really good job at limiting strikeouts at the plate themselves, so they're going to be able to put a lot of balls into play, and I think they're going to be able to get a lot of base runners via the base hit. Pineda's also had a problem with the walk at times in his career. We've seen him give up at least one home run in 3 of his last 4 outings. You know, Brad Keller's not my favorite starting pitcher, but the Tigers have struggled against righties this season, so I think the Royals grab the win in Game 1. But in Game 2, I do think the Tigers have a solid chance. You know, Daniel Lynch, 4.95 ERA is definitely up there, and the Tigers have definitely had better numbers against lefties offensively, much better numbers, especially in the last 30 days. That's why they went on a little bit of a win streak there, as their numbers against lefties were really solid, up there against some of the top teams in the league, actually. So I do trust them against Daniel Lynch. You know, Alex Faedo's not my favorite starting pitcher, but I do think he'll be good enough here for the Tigers' bats to back him up and to get the win here. So I'm going to take the Detroit Tigers in Game 2. So that's the Kansas City Royals in Game 1, the Detroit Tigers in Game 2. Next up, we see the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Miami Marlins. We're going to see Mitch Keller and Trevor Rogers as the starters here. Now, I fully understand why the Marlins are favorites in this spot. My only issue lies with the fact that I don't think they should be this big of favorites. There's no doubt that they're the better team, obviously the better record, especially at home, but you know, Trevor Rogers and Mitch Keller, I would say, are a little bit closer than the Marlins being minus 155, minus 160 favorites in this spot. You look at Mitch Keller, sure, his ERA is above 5, but the same is said about Trevor Rogers. Mitch Keller, a better ERA, but an even better xFIP, 4.16 xFIP. So there is to say Keller may be getting a little bit unlucky on the mound. He definitely faced a really tough lineup last time out and struggled against the New York Yankees. But he's not facing the Yankees here. He's facing a Marlins lineup that hasn't done a ton. You know, they only scored 2 runs on Sunday, even though they got the win. Jazz Chisholm being out of the lineup has really hurt this offense overall. I've mentioned over and over that they've really struggled with runners in scoring position this season. So, you know, it's tough to lay this kind of price with a team that's not guaranteed to score a ton of runs on a daily basis. They can certainly get on base, especially against right-handed pitching, but the run scoring department is not always there. And we saw the Pittsburgh Pirates put up 8 runs on arguably one of the best pitching staffs in baseball in the Milwaukee Brewers, and that makes it back-to-back wins outright for the Pirates. They were big-time underdogs in that series on the road. They found 2 wins, and you know what? Their power numbers against left-handed pitching have been really solid. Even though they don't have the best team OPS, their isolated power is in the top half of the league. And Trevor Rogers at times has had issues with the long ball. He's definitely had times with the beginning of his starts, the early innings of his outings. If the Pirates find a few runs early, it may be enough for Mitch Keller to settle in and win this game. I just think the value's on the underdog here. Not my favorite game on the board, but I'm going to take a shot here with the dog. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays hosting the Boston Red Sox. Brian Bello and Matt Whistler are your starters for now. We don't have an official lineup for this game quite yet, but we should see these 2 starting pitchers. Matt Whistler more of an opener. And the biggest thing is this Rays team had an ugly weekend, and there was an exclamation point put on that this Sunday when they lost 10-5. The bullpen was chewed through both on Sunday and Saturday. Saturday they went on a bullpen game as Shane Baz couldn't make it through, Drew Rasmussen, only made it through 4 innings, so the bullpen had a ton of work there. And this is not really a great spot to go with the bullpen game yet again. Like I mentioned, Matt Whistler is going to be an opener, so he's not going to go too deep, maybe 1-2 innings here. And I just don't know if I can trust this Rays bullpen to go that far. It has certainly struggled, losing those late games in Cincinnati in Game 1 and 2 of that series in extra innings. Now, some of those were unfortunate losses like the balk in the first game, but still, this Rays team is just not playing very good baseball. While Brian Bello did struggle against this Rays lineup, I still think he's got pretty good stuff. We saw double-digit strikeouts per 9 from him in the minor leagues. And with the way the Rays are playing, I just don't really want to have any business taking them in this spot, especially with the Red Sox team. It's been a little bit inspired. We saw that walk-off win on Saturday night against the Yankees. I think this is a good spot for Boston to grab a road win. You know, like, not my favorite game just like the previous one, but I am going to take the Red Sox here on the money line. Next up, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Lance Lynn and Cal Quantrill are your starters. Now, Lance Lynn's xFIP is below 4. I do believe we're going to start to see some better numbers and some better starts from Lynn as the season continues. Last time out wasn't his best outing, but we saw the previous one of that one, a shutout performance in 6 innings of work against the Guardians. Cleveland overall has been super inconsistent offensively in the last few series. We saw on Saturday they scored 13 runs, 23 base hits. Looked like their offense was back, and then boom, on Sunday they faced Zach Greinke, a perfect spot to get another good day of offense. They only score 1 run on 5 base hits. I really can't trust this Cleveland team right now, and I certainly can't trust Cal Quantrill, a guy that a lot of the advanced analytical nerds will say, oh, he's going to regress, and we're actually starting to see that quite a bit recently. You look at his last outing, 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 total runs. 3 of those were earned, a home run against the Tigers of all teams. The previous start to that one, he did go 8 innings, but giving up 2 homers to the Twins. He's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 5 outings, and I just don't really like him in this spot against the White Sox team that's improved their numbers overall from the beginning of the season against right-handed pitching. I'm going to take the Chicago White Sox here. The price is pretty good because of the road team. I'm going to take Chicago on the money line. Next up, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Aaron Nola and Miles Mikolas are your projected starters. Now, we saw this game open up as a pick'em. We're now seeing the Phillies start to be the favorites here at -115. I do think they deserve to be the favorites, and I do like Aaron Nola a lot more than Miles Mikolas in this spot. I'm going to take the Phillies here on the money line. Aaron Nola pitching very, very well for Philadelphia. You know, last time out, he didn't get the win, but he went 7 2/3 innings, a 3-run ball. It's a very quality start. And overall, 4 quality starts in his last 5 outings, while Miles Mikolas also pitched well in terms of the quality outing against the Braves, but he gave up 2 home runs against Atlanta, 2 moonshots in the late going to that game. Cardinals bats were not able to back him up. In fact, in the last 4 outings that Mikolas has had, the Cardinals have lost 3 of those 4 outright, and that includes a 5-3 loss to these Philadelphia Phillies back on July the 1st. I think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game, a pretty close game, but I do think Nola is the better pitcher, so I think there's some value here on Philadelphia. Give me them on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. This is going to be the series of the week, in my opinion, thus far. And we have a great pitching matchup. This is going to be on Fox Sports 1. So a nationally televised game. 2 big rivals that are neck and neck in the NL East standings now that the Braves won on a walk-off on Sunday. This is only a 1.5 game lead that the Mets have. They have certainly not looked the best as of late, especially on offense. And we're going to see Max Scherzer and Max Fried. A pair of Maxes going at it here. Now, Max Scherzer, this will be his 2nd start back from injury. He pitched very, very well against the Cincinnati Reds in his first start back. He went 6 innings of work, 2 hits, no walks, no earned runs, 11 strikeouts. Now, you're not facing the Cincinnati Reds here. That's a lineup that was really struggling against righties in the last 30 days. But you're facing the Atlanta Braves here, a lineup that has crushed righties. Now, they didn't look great on Saturday in terms of the run-scoring department. They had a lot of base runners. They had plenty of chances to break that game open. They kind of waited a little bit. They got a nice walk-off base hit in the bottom of the 12th. But they're still #1, the Braves are, in the last 30 days in team OPS and isolated power against right-handed pitching. And I do think that the Braves can get to Scherzer in this spot, at least for a few runs. But on the other side, I also have to say, the New York Mets have improved their game against left-handed pitching. They're in the top 15 to the top half of the league in the last 30 days in team OPS against lefties. And Max Fried, I watched his last start against St. Louis. It was good. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, he didn't give up a single run. It couldn't have been that bad. But he did give up a lot of fly ball outs, a lot of deep fly ball outs, which is a little bit concerning. He only had 4 strikeouts in 6 innings, gave up 5 hits and a walk, so a good amount of base runners, not a lot of missed bats. That does concern me against the Mets team. It's already pretty good at limiting strikeouts themselves. You know, we saw this total open up at 7, and right away, boom, it shot up to 7.5, which you wouldn't expect when you see 2 pitchers like Fried and Scherzer. But I actually think the over is in play here. This is the perfect weather for over baseball in Atlanta right now. Pretty good humidity. It's pretty warm as well. And I think we could see a couple home runs in this game. I think there's some value on the over because of how low that total is because of these two pitchers. So give me the over in what should be a fantastic game between two bitter rivals. Next up, we see the Oakland Athletics taking on the Texas Rangers. I won't talk as long on this game as I did the last one, as this is probably one of the worst games we're going to see on the board on Monday. Adrian Martinez and Spencer Howard. Oh boy, this is a tough pitching matchup to handicap. You know, I think the Rangers are the better side. I think they're going to win the game, but do I want to lay minus 160 with Texas right now? No bueno. This bullpen is not very good, but neither is the Oakland's right now. The lineups are not very trustworthy, but I will say I do trust the Rangers a lot more against right-handed pitching than I do Oakland. You look at Martinez last time out, 3 earned runs, 2 homers. Previous start, 7 earned runs, 2 homers. I can't trust him here. I think Spencer Howard has his fair share of issues, but I think he's good enough here. I think the bats do a lot of damage for Texas. Give me the Rangers here on the money line and what could be an ugly game to watch. Next up, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the Colorado Rockies. Sean Manaea and Jose Urena are your starters. Now, even though Urena has a sub-3 ERA for the time being, I don't think he's a major league viable option for any rotation right now, especially a Coors Field team in the Colorado Rockies. I think he struggles in this outing. I think the Padres team, it's been a lot better against righties than they have lefties in the last 30 days. I do think they get to Urena quite a bit in this spot, and the Colorado Rockies have one of the worst bullpens in terms of projected WAR and bullpen ERA this season. So I see continuous scoring from the Padres, but the Rockies have hit left-handed pitching very, very well, especially at Coors Field, and the Padres overall have struggled against the Rockies in the last few seasons at Coors Field. So I certainly wouldn't want to lay that kind of price with Sean Manaea and San Diego here on the money line, although I do think their offense will have a good day. I mean, look at Manaea has given up 7 earned runs in his last 9 innings of work. He's going to at least 1 home run in 3 of his last 4 outings, and he hasn't really even faced that tough of lineups. The Mariners, the Diamondbacks twice, the Cubs. Now he's facing a really tough Rockies lineup that crushes lefties, plays very well at home, and at Coors Field, we know it's a hitter-friendly ballpark to begin with. I think this total is set too low. Give me the over in the Padres-Rockies. And now in our final game of the night, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the San Francisco Giants. Merrill Kelly and Alex Cobb are your starters here. Now, we saw this same exact pitching matchup in Arizona, only last start for both of these pitchers. We saw just last week, we saw a 7-5 final score where Merrill Kelly was definitely the better starting pitcher, but the Diamondbacks showed that their bullpen can't really be trusted, and the Giants scored a few runs late in that game, and they were able to win that 7-5. Now, Alex Cobb's a guy that I still think, I'm not giving up hope on him, as even though his ERA is at 4.74, his xFIP is below 3 right now. That's through 52 innings of work, or 57 innings, excuse me, of work this season. That's a pretty big difference, a 4.74 ERA and a sub-3 xFIP. That tells me that he's been one of the unluckier pitchers on the mound this season. Him and Alex Wood have been the same, and we saw Alex Wood dominate on Sunday. So I think Alex Cobb has a strong outing here, especially at a more pitcher-friendly ballpark. Merrill Kelly, I still think will pitch pretty well against the Giants lineup that hasn't been the best as of late, but I still think the Giants are the better play here and will get the win in the end. I'm going to lean towards the under, and I'm going to take the San Francisco Giants here on the money line. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday, July 11th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.